Hey, welcome back. It's another episode of the Biblical Blueprint. It's your boy Reylo. Man, let's get into it, man. All right. You know what it is, man. Biblical Blueprint, Reylo. Chapter by chapter, verse by verse, we're going through the Bible. I got to prove to you guys that this is the best book for anything that's going on in your life and anything that's going on in your business. We're going to use this guidebook to become better business people, just better people overall. So man, right now we're still in the first book of the Bible and we're in chapter 20. And this chapter is called When Faith Works. It's just called When Faith Works, man. It, pretty much they did it again to Abraham. And they tried him again. And guess what? We got the same outcome. So let's go ahead. Let's get into the chapter, man. Let's hear the word of God.
Genesis 20:1-18, ERV. Abraham left that place and traveled to the Negev. He settled in the city of Gerar between Kadesh and Shur. While in Gerar, Abraham told people that Sarah was his sister. King Abimelech of Gerar heard this. Abimelech wanted Sarah, so he sent some servants to take her. But one night, Elohim spoke to Abimelech in a dream and said, "You will die. The woman you took is married." But Abimelech had not yet slept with Sarah, so he said, "Elohim, I am not guilty. Would you kill an innocent man?" Abraham himself told me, "This woman is my sister." And she also said, "This man is my brother. I am innocent. I did not know what I was doing." Then God said to Abimelech in a dream, "Yes, I know that you are innocent and that you did not know what you were doing. I saved you. I did not allow you to sin against me. I was the one who did not allow you to sleep with her. So give Abraham his wife again. He is a prophet. He will pray for you, and you will live. But if you don't give Sarah back to him, I promise that you will die, and all your family will die with you." So very early the next morning, Abimelech called all his servants and told them about the dream. The servants were very afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "Why have you done this to us? What wrong did I do to you? Why did you lie and say that she was your sister? You brought great trouble to my kingdom. You should not have done this to me. What were you afraid of? Why did you do this to me?" Then Abraham said, "I thought no one in this place respected God. I thought someone would kill me to get Sarah. She is my wife, but she is also my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. God led me away from my father's house. He led me to wander to many different places. When that happened, I told Sarah, 'Do something for me. Wherever we go, tell people you are my sister.' So Abimelech gave Sarah back to Abraham. Abimelech also gave Abraham some sheep, cattle, and slaves. And Abimelech said, 'Look all around you. This is my land. You may live any place you want.' Abimelech said to Sarah, 'I gave your brother Abraham 1,000 pieces of silver. I did this to show that I am very sorry. I want everyone to see that I did the right thing.' Elohim made all the women in Abimelech's family not able to have children. God did this because Abimelech had taken Sarah, Abraham's wife. But Abraham prayed to Yahuwah, and Abimelech was healed, his wife, and his servant girls." Genesis 20:1-18 ERV.
All right, so we see what's up, man. Abraham travels to the land of Gerar, and you know what I'm saying? They try him again. It's the same thing that happened in Egypt. And Abraham sticks to the same program. Pretty much these people during this time, he felt like they didn't respect life at all. So instead of You know what I'm saying? Standing on business and saying, hey, this is my wife. He said, this is my sister. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty much deflecting the conflict. Now, what we have learned about Abram during these times, right? Abram has amassed a lot. He got slaves, he got hitters, because we already saw, when they ran up on Lot, Abraham had them people to help him get Lot back. You feel me? He got everything, right? So why during this time that he kind of, in our terms, turned down the fade? They come talking. You already know what these people talking about, and what they're saying is that he was already saying that this was his sister as soon as he got into the city, because at the end of the day, he already saw what happened in Egypt. He's already kind of seen this happen. I gotta go in here. I gotta say this is my sister, because if they find out that I'm her husband, they're gonna slay me down. So pretty much, we same thing happens. God has divine protection over him. Divine protection. Same thing that happened to Pharaoh pretty much happened to Abimelech. The difference between Abimelech and the Pharaoh got instant judgment. Abimelech got a warning in a dream, and pretty much got the ultimatum from Elohim himself. Hey, you took Abram's wife. Send her back, and you ain't gonna have no problems. That's pretty much what he told him. Of course, Abimelech come back like, man, why you didn't tell me this? And Abraham kept it straight up. Hey, I didn't think you guys were people who feared the Lord, so I said what I said, and pretty much he was like, he was trying to save his life. Abimelech took it as, originally he takes it as a, you done brought this plague along, because pretty much all the women were stricken down to where they couldn't have kids. And it kind of just, always just makes me think to myself, like, man, Sarah must have been fine. She was 90 years old and the king was still trying to take her. That's wild. But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Now, standing on business part, right? We already know kind of what happened in the end. You know what I'm saying? They live happily ever after. The king gives them some gifts. End of story. No harm, no foul, right? I guess the struggle that we kind of just have with just a little bit of debate here is that should Abraham still stand on business like this is my wife and took the conflict head on, or did what he did and just put it in God's hand and deflected from it? And certain people will say that was just him working out of fear. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what I'm reading outside of the book. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own translation. To me, that's why I say, when faith works. You know what I'm saying? If it happened the first time, and I honestly, what I realize is that when you make mistakes, you know that it's a mistake. And you don't repeat the mistake. You know what I'm saying? And just, I'm gonna give Abraham the benefit of the doubt. This was a wise man. If it was a mistake the first time and God didn't come and say, don't ever do that again, he would have did it. He was a very obedient person. So I don't think that this is a mistake. I don't think this is something that he was doing out of fear. I think he made a wise decision the first time when it happened in Egypt. I think he made a wise decision when it happened again. Put it in God's hands. We're not coming into these visitors' lands. We don't know who these people are. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know what they thinking. And hey, you just see the divine protection, because God has already got a covenant with Abraham. You're gonna have a son pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? So having having a king take his wife just added to the suspense. And at the end of the day, it's several situations we'll never know. But I look at it as like this is just a scenario where if it worked the first time, I'm gonna run the same play again, and guess what? It worked the second time. And it wasn't like God came and said that he was a coward or anything like that. He still had the divine protection despite his decision. And that's one of the things I realized just in life. Like, despite your decision, you're going to have divine protection. You know, um, I experienced this in my life recently, right? I started realizing that my job is more dangerous than what I thought it was. I've experienced people being killed, literally. I've experienced fights, arguments, people stealing. I have had domestic disputes. And sometimes I feel like it's a mistake for me walking in there each and every day, even though I'm on a journey. I'm working at this job because it's probably the easiest job to escape from when it's time to escape. I'm not making these videos for no reason. I'm making them because once everything moves the way I want it to move, it'll be easier to just drop it and just go all into what I got going on. Once I get the traction going, and you know, I realize that I'm under divine protection, despite what decision that I make. Now, I can't make any rash decision that will go against God. That's the only thing I can't do. But making a decision and just believing that you have divine protection is just, that's where I'm at in life. And I want you to be there in life. Believe in yourself and everything that you're going through, because once you really believe that you have protection over you and you feel that you're in alignment, because a lot of times, I'm going to tell you right now, you know unless you're delusional, you know when you're in full alignment. You know when you're in full alignment. It's a difference when you're in full alignment. When you're in full alignment, there's no complaining about the route that you're taking. There's no doubt that in the route that you're taking. There's no doubt in what you're going through, that you're going to overcome it. You know what I'm saying? You don't get depressed in your situation. I feel like I'm in alignment because I'm definitely not in depression or anything what I'm going through. And I go through a lot. Just like Abram. Here we go again. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I feel that God is going to fulfill his promise because he has his protection over me. There's a lot that we can kind of say as far as like how this kind of just relates to your life. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's a debate. Is this an old pattern resurfacing? Should have Abraham did something different? And like I said, I don't think he has, because I think this is probably the most wisest, faithfulest man on the planet at that point in time. And at the end of the day, he just had full trust in God. He knew that, whatever happened, it was going to work out. Of course, we just understand in life, and my point is, within life, have faith. That's all it is. Faith is going to work everything out. You know what I'm saying? And you do have divine protection in these situations where you're having faith. My biggest thing is like, we're tying this also into business, right? Because I feel like the Bible is the best business book. You know what I'm saying? One thing that I can see is that God is going to cover you when you thought you had no control over the situation. There are several situations that you're put in where it's just like, it feels like you have no control. I know sometimes people have confidence because they when you stack up a lot of wins, it feels like you cannot be stopped. But there are always situations that you cannot control. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You may not know what's going to happen in the next hour. You know what I'm saying? But just have faith that God has his protection over you. I want us to end with this closing declaration that you will not let fear make you hide the truth, and that Elohim protects you with what protects your promise. The promises that he has for you is protected. So nothing can divert you from that. Always have faith. Always have fear. Always have faith in the direction that you're going into. And don't be fearful of situations that you're placed in. If you know that you can't control it, just put it in God's hand and watch God work. Thank you so much for hearing me out in this video. I really appreciate it. And until the next video, man, I'll see you again. Peace out.